There we go. All right, we're all set. Sorry about that. I just had to change my settings up a little bit. I put this is a huge black piece of paper. And this is a sketchbook that's roughly around the same size as the last one. And, it's we're going to be doing some drawing on chalk today, I think. Hey, Jim, welcome aboard, sir. Good to see you. Hey, I'm really enjoying your cartoons right now, man. I really am. Fantastic stuff, man. Really, really, truly. It's exciting. It's exciting. You see that things are coming together for you, brother. Okay. Uh, yeah, yeah. If anybody gets a chance, please go and check out the work of Mr. Jim Luhan and see what he's been up to. Truly impressive work. Where am I at? Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing that great work with everybody. I've got a couple things. Here is today's page, and this was made yesterday during our live stream. I just had to fill in the black on the page. And why sci-fi? Yes. So just a fun little page. A little bit of collage stuff. The requests for collage this week have been fun, so I've enjoyed doing those, and we'll do some more. But I also like drawing traditionally, so I thought I'd give you a quick show of today's page. But I've got something fun in the sun I want to show you in the camera. I can't fit the whole thing in because it's this big, but this is the quick painting that I've done in the last couple of days that I just have to trim down for the client. So this is Banff. This is a certain mountain area in Banff, and so sorry I'm blocking the one camera, but the paper's too big. So this is the view of the mountain range and the valleys and so on and so forth. And it's on a bunch of piece of paper. How do we get it by tape? Jim says, I've been around work schedule conflicts, but will when I can. Hey, same here. I've been having the same challenge, my friend. But I've just been showing up again and watching streams again, which is a nice feeling because I've been away. So anyway, so that's this. This is an acrylic, and it is 2 feet by 3 feet. And this is the thing that I made from all of the small sketches and layouts that I've been showing people. I got to put this over there because otherwise I'm not getting anything done. So this is the result of that. And I've still got a few of the sketches left because I've been giving them out as I do. So this is the original source imagery I was given. And so the next piece is going to be, so here's these sketches that I did from it that are falling all over the place. Okay. Thanks very much, Jim. I appreciate that. Jim says, a beautiful paint. So these are the sketches that I've done in various mediums. That's pen and white China marker on paper. Just mixed media stuff. I gotta put that aside because I need that for the other one. Some rocks. Just drawing rocks. So these are all just the little sketches that just drawing rocks too that I've been doing. It's upside down. So you can see where I start getting into the mountains illustrations here. So here's one of the range. That's another forest one. That's another forest one. Okay. And then the sort of foreground viewpoint, things like that. Let's see what else I got. So these are the things that I've been showing this week. So these are all quick little 4x6 paintings and mixed media things on cardstock. So this is this week's output that I've shown a few times now. And there are a whole bunch of different mediums involved. So the next one that I'm working on is going to be reminiscent of, hold on, I gotta get about 12 things out of the way. There we go. So it's going to be reminiscent of these quick sketches here. So yeah, so that's where we're at. And It's a bit of a shift from the one image to the other, but that's the whole idea for them in the office, so they don't have to look at the same slogan on the wall that they've been looking at for 10 years. So it's a fun opportunity that I've been presented with. So yeah, so and this next one is 3x2. So it's, instead of a landscape format, it's a horizontal format. Huh? You know, like all the kids do. And Corbin, what do you think? Corbin's with me in the studio, as always. Say hi, bud. How you doing, everybody? Man, that guy's got a deep voice. Okay. So, I've got black construction paper laid out. And the reason I have this big blank sheets of paper laid out, and they're nice thickness. And these are, I think, what do we got? It says it here. Well, okay, this is fun. These are meant to be 4 9x12 pads cut down. So it's 2 by 1.5 feet by 2 feet is the size of this thing. So we're going to do today's page using this, and we're going to do it in chalk. Bam! So these are chalks that I bought. Yes, Corbin, what? Okay, hold on. Corbin wants to say hi. Yo, what's up, mamas? How you doing? Hey, all right. Hey, watch me draw. It's not Chris doing it, it's me. Get out of here, lion. You're lying. So, it's not a lion, it's a cat. Oh! Anyways. I make for funny myself. So this is the 12 set. Now, all the chalk stuff that I've done lately, I've done with this box. And have not used very much at all. I went and picked up a bunch of chalk sets at the dollar store nearby. But as far as it goes for the principal 12 colors, they're out. So I've put together 14 of these boxes like this for the participants in the chalk event that I'm running in 2 weekends. So this is the sets that you can find. This one's all flesh tone, nude tones. And this one is gray tones. So yeah, so there we go. So, but there's some nice extra whites and extra blacks in there, and the intermediate values in between. Whereas this is the broad range of humanity. And womanity. Womanity. So, hi, Linda. Welcome aboard. Hiya, Paul. How you doing, sir? Wow, it's great to see everybody today. Okay, so I've got... Where's the book, Corbin? Your job was to hand me the book. It's hard getting good help. It really is. It headbutts you the entire time you're trying to work. It covers your shirt and fur. Cat hair. It's a troublesome thing. Okay. So time traveling cat who accidentally ends up in space. We've done a kid that was eaten by a tablet. Tablets, dangerous creatures. Dangerous objects, I'm sorry. And today's was Why Sci-Fi Is. And that came from Larry. Thank you, Larry. So, let's see what we got next. An extremely serious clown. Oh, that is begging to be done in chalk. And that suggestion comes from someone named Jim L. Jim L. An extremely serious clown. Jim L. So that'll be today's page. Let's see what I'm missing. Hello, Linda. Corbin. Me like chalks. Okay, Paul's had a long week. All right, so I've got this big old piece of paper laid out for us. And so what I'll do is we're going to do an extremely serious clown. So what I'm doing is that I'm typing in clown. That's the magic of words. And so this is, as per usual. Let's see what we get. So these are the thumbnails I have to work from, folks. And I leave them the same size as you see them on the thing right now. And that's fine by me. Because honestly, if I blow them up too big, then it becomes a case of, we're focusing more on the details than we are on the creativity within us. Yes, sir. Okay, Corbin is climbing all over me to come and draw. Okay, there you go. Get to work. Come on. Corbin, get to work. It's a choice to try to use your mouth to draw, but use your paws. Like I said, these days, the help we get. So I've got these random little things to work from. Let's just get right into it. So I think I'll start. There's one where it looks like somebody who's about to sneeze. I think I'll start with that one. That'll be our first image that we'll do. Hi, Liz. Welcome aboard. All right. So I got this big sheet. I'm going to turn it on its side because I can't get to half of it because this kid's in the way. Get out of the way, kid. What's your problem, kid? Oh, I don't want that. Get out of here. That was creepy. All right. So, I'll move some things. I make a samarim. Okay. Try not to knock all the cameras over. Yeah, a little bit of calamity here. That's all because of Corbin. He's not being helpful. I think we need to have a talk. All right, let's get serious, Corbin. Come on. All right. So here we go. We've got our chalk. We've got a big surface to work from. I am going to find our outside line. I'm going to miss it completely. Let's see down here. This is me marking out on the paper. Now it goes right out to the edge. Good. And so there's the, I'm just marking out for myself where paper is in camera. Corbin, we've made a mistake already. So this is our page to work on today. Extremely serious clown. So I'm going to start with, I've got a bit of trying to get the, oh, there, that'll work. I'll use that hook. Okay. So I'm trying to get the chalk to stay up there. It was being rather disagreeable. So we'll start in our first panel. So if anybody, so here's the thing for today, okay? You're doing today's story with me. And what I mean by that is I'll start the first panel off for our extremely serious clown. And then as soon as I get into this, what I'm asking is the next person comes in and starts suggesting where we're going to go with this. So what's next? What's going on next in our story? So I'm interested, if anybody's working on projects and stuff that you want to talk about, please feel free to do so in the stream. If anybody has any questions or suggestions or, massive challenges and conflicts in reality that, hey, how come when you press the crosswalk, sometimes it's a dude walking and other times it's, a green hand. These are the things that make people go, why is that? Okay, so I'm drawing in our guy. And I'm just making marks as I go along, not being too particular in the moment, because honestly, you got to set an undertone before you can get it to pick up and be some of the clear marks that you need to put down. So we're working on that basis. But if I have our clown and I'm using like a whole bunch of these random, oh, I just turned it off. back on. A bunch of these random little faces. There's a lot of representations of the horror monster clown in there. So but we understand how facial structure works, don't we, gang? Yes, we do, Chris. So we're going to put some of our own in here and change his expression from to, whatever today is. Serious business. Paul says, I've had a long few months. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. I fixed ATC cards early this AM. They're tiny. Who knew? Nice. I'm sorry to hear that, Paul. I completely get it. It's been a challenging so many months for me as well. And then I found out my doctor is retiring. What? Who am I going to have argue with me now about taking better care of myself? I discovered something this week, and if you know what I'm referring to, you're going to look at me like I'm a complete nincompoop. But I've been having a really hard time with my insulin adjustments, and the carb ratio and math ratio. You have to figure out how much carbs you're eating and where your blood sugar is at the moment. So how much you're going to adjust that to the intake versus the existing level you're at. Yeah. So my endocrinologist just bloop, 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 bloop in my device, and now it calculates it for me. 3 years. 3 years of being type 1 diabetic, and that just happened. I wish I was aware of that earlier. Okay. So this is what I'm denoting here is our eyebrows for our clown. And, we'll put a little dot of value in the nose there. And we're going to bring up some of these tones in a little bit. But first and foremost, we're just getting down the structure and the basic colors for areas. And then, we're going to lighten up our cheeks and give some shape to that, and just give the face a little bit more form, accent points. So if you go over areas, if you are working in chalk, and if you go over areas a second time, then you'll start getting more opaque values. And that's, work has been cramping my style, no projects, and I haven't watched you in forever. And then it says, good to see you, Paul. I agree. Well, I hear you. That's the tricky thing about those things. Like these, I feel really blessed. I'm fortunate that I got a bunch of commissions that I'm working on, but at the same time, those have been making it challenging for me to do full, multiple panel one-page stories this last so many months. So I finally got a routine in place that I can figure that out. So I've only got 4 values in here, 5, sorry, with the red, and we're working from there. The black lines I'm just leaving clear because it's a black surface that you work on, right? I once ran into a serious clown and I said, are you kidding me? Yeah. In the background, Journey was playing. I'm going to wait and see if anybody gets that joke. Journey was playing in the background. What song am I referring to? Come on, people. Come on. Yeah, I know somebody's got it. So we're going to give him his hair because he's got to have stupid hair. And one of these little things has yellow hair, so I'm picking that one. So here's it's like velvet drawings, isn't it? From the 70s. Isn't that what those were? Velvet art? So I'm going to show you one of the things that I do to change a tone. So you can put down your base color and that works really well. But then on top of your base color, if you start coming in with a secondary value, now I've got a couple of options. I've got this orange and I've got this brown, but it needs to it needs to not be applied in an opaque way. We want to blend it into the yellow, right? I like clowns, bringing the clouds. I thought were the words. Yeah, there you go. Hope the text smooths things out. I know how that goes. There you go. Yeah, it's all working great now. It's life changing really to have that meter on there and the timers to go off every time I really should be checking the state of the union, as I like to call it. And so, yeah, good feelings, in the words of Lou Reed. Okay, does anybody get the Journey song reference yet? It's who's crying now? Sad clown joke. Okay. So I'm putting some of this brown in here to give shape to the hair that we have. So I work light to dark when I'm doing chalk work, and then I come back in as I'm working light to dark and I do some punch ups on top of that. So for me, that I find that beneficial because it lets me more clearly delineate space, like one thing from the next. So, and then the more you work in on an area, that's when you really want to start putting in any details. Because that way, there's a better sense of what marks are going to be presented, what marks are going to be seen now. And there's no point in trying to put details down first, and then you're just going to smudge them out, or you're going to cover them up somehow. So, does anybody here ever work in chalk? Has anybody ever thought to work in chalk? Oh, the cool kids do it. Yeah. No. So now I'm coming in. I'm sorry if there's shaky cam, but I'm coming in now with some orange to add, like I said earlier, a little bit of detail to our clown's hair. I still haven't put in his very serious eyes. I don't want a sad clown. I just want a serious one. Maybe I'll come in. I got a white. Let's see how you work in here. Yeah, no, you're lousy. Get out. Go away. Nobody asked for you. I was going to see if I could use this charcoal pencil that I have, and no, it's not being helpful at all. So it still kind of ends up looking like a bit of a sad clown. Well, we'll adjust this in just a sec. That's the lines under the eyes, right? Do I have a light blue? I do. So this is our colors so far. I have a big box of chalk in the trunk of my car. I keep it there in case I want to do some rando sidewalk art. I haven't done any yet, though. Oh, that's awesome. Who's crying now? Disappointed I didn't get that. I can do better. I believe in you. My adult kids and I went to see it in theater. I'm You're the only screamer in the theater. I don't like clowns. When I was a young man, and here's the challenge. My mother was friends with the person who they would always, they grab a coffee together and they're just friends with the person who was the clown of London, Ontario, and he would be in the Santa Claus parade and at all these big public things. He'd be out there on behalf of the kids in the city and making balloons. And such a nice man. Passed away some time ago, but my mother was friends with him. And then as I became older and he remembered me. We became friends. But the first time I met him, I punched him in the face. I was about 9, and he came up with "Hi," and bam! Just, I've never had a flight response. It's always a fight response. So I felt so bad, and he never stopped reminding me about it for years. And so, as we're both adults, and I'm 5'18", he'd always tell whoever's around us, if we're talking, "See this guy here? Punched me in the face, and I stayed on my feet. He just hit me as hard as he could, and it didn't even go down." And it's like, and he doesn't contextualize it. That is when I was 8 years old. Chuck was my jam until I went digital. There, nice, man. The book "It" scared me half to death, Linda says. Yeah, it's not a cuddly one, by no means. It's not one that you're like, hey, you know what? I like some light reading. Why don't we read this to the Sunday school? Hey, kids, take a look at this. Hey, Bobby and Susie, can you all say, "We all float down here"? Yeah. It's a dark book. His early stuff, man, so good. That's Stephen King. Okay, so here's our serious clown coming together now. And we'll just give him a little bit of shape in his face here. And let's bring out some more of the highlights. I had a red. What did I do with the red? Is it in my hand? Curious. Did I drop it? Please don't roll over the red. Huh. Is it in my... I don't know. I lost a piece of chalk somehow, folks. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Okay, so... yeah, that's going to drive me crazy. I got to find that chalk. Go down here. Yeah, that's so random. How does one do that? More correctly, how does this one do that? Well, it's gone. Gone to the ages. That's fine. It's fine. I didn't even want him to come and hang out with us. It's fine. Anyhow. So here's our clown, and I'll just put a little bit more shape into his features here, and then we'll just get crack-a-lackin'. Moving on. And see, I don't tend to bring in the black until the very end, just because it can be so overpowering in a composition that why early onset that? Have it just take out what you're trying to progress into. And you should only need it for specific spots, like little highlights here and there, right? It should only be necessary to put in some emphasis points, really. Helps you to control the color values that you have and keep them apart from one another. Paul, you probably already know all this. Okay, so here's his neck. Now, while I'm doing this, I hope people have been thinking about what's the next panel for our very serious clown. Suggestion from Jim L. Question, how tall was I at 9 years old? This says, check the kitties. Corbin just went over to lie down on his chair, and Lucy is upstairs sleeping on her little bed. So, for those that don't know, Lucy is our new cat that we got recently, because Lori wanted a cat of her own. How did I lose a red piece of chalk? Seriously, I baffled myself with this. I'm baffled. That's baffling. Anyways, so if anybody thinks about what the next panel is, let me know, and then we'll start putting that in as well. I'm going to do a silly let's see. Yeah, let's use this. Maybe this is the red. Oh, this is the, oh my, I've been holding the red the entire time. Whew, when my looks go. Anyways. So I'm going to put a bit of his outfit into here as well. So in our first panel. So we'll get that in there just to get that established for ourselves. And then let's put as soon as I said, hey, I'll draw today's page in chalk, I sort of said to my, immediately, what's the matter with you? Why do you do this to yourself? Okay, Mr. Colorer. You do whatever you like there, guy. A little pink in the throat there. See, I tried to put red in the cheeks. And I couldn't find where I put it. There we go. That's better. All right. This is, what is the worst part of playing tag? How tall was I at 9 years old? I was short. I didn't actually get hit puberty until 16. So suddenly, bam, I went from 5 foot 8, 5'9", to 6'2" within a year, and I think over the course of the summer and fall. And so I was in a great deal of discomfort from how much that really kicks the heck out of you. All that stretching and cracking of the bones. And but so 16, the whole game changed. Grade 9, my school principal wrote to a lovely young lady. Okay, so here's our first panel done. This is our very serious clown. The reason I went into the green for our background is that because we have this predominance of red values with the oranges, the red nose, the red costume, putting a green in behind just differentiates the two. It just differentiates the foreground and our character from the background. So, yay us. All right, team. Ho, ho, ho. So beef up the highlight on our clown's nose. Okay, so here's our first panel of a very serious clown. Now, our next panel, what is the worst part of playing tag? Okay, well, let's work that in. I'm just utilizing this one. Okay, I got an idea. So I've started drawing his costume in red, right? So let's put our clown, so we're now in our next panel. When the clown is it, there you go. So we're going to put his hair in here like so. I'm making a much smaller version of our character. So I'm going to come in here a little smaller in our features, but because we've already established him here, we can get away a little bit by reducing his size down. So I've set myself up with this collar being the crazy pattern that it is. And so what I'm doing right now is what I talked about earlier. I'm just putting in the basic values for each section, right? And then we'll add some bells and whistles. So I'm going to put our clown character in a sort of repose where he's sitting with his one leg up and his other leg down. So I'm going to let's give him some stripes on his kit and caboodle here. That's what I call his outfit, kit and caboodle. You gotta add one of the stars of your shows, one of the kitties. Okay, I will. All right, you talked me into it. That was a real tough one, huh? So here's here's the challenge of this chalk, is that you've got to break the surface on the chalk because this is so sharp that it's not really going to start letting the pigment go. It's just more like a scratchy complication until you can get it working. So we'll get his leg up. If we can get, there we go. And then we'll put his other arm up. Hey kids, one of those poses, right? So thank you for today's suggestion to Jim L. And appreciate everybody coming by and hanging out. This is fun. I hope you're having fun. So I'm simulating the same kind of facial structure because I want to, even though it's not as detailed, because we have this next door, you're going to be able to understand the difference between the two. So that works for us. Go team, go team, go. So now we're coming into the sleeves and filling out. And then I'll come in a second with this and fold in some of the joints and things. All right, where are we at? Am I missing stuff? What's the worst part of playing tag? So our first, I'm going to make notes. So this is an extremely, I'm just writing this above for myself, an extremely serious clown, Jim L. And then here's their second panel, which is what's the worst part of playing tag. So if anybody has a suggested idea to continue this narrative, please let me know in the chat. I broke this. Stupid pencil. Okay. So let me know in the chat, and then we'll add that in. So I've got these notes above each of these panels. Do clowns wear gloves? I'm not sure. Let me ask. Do you wear gloves? I don't really talk about that right now. Okay. Gosh, this guy's sensitive. So I'm just getting in our basics of this character and putting together his expression here of, it's, you know what, one of my favorite characters that is like super serious and at the same time kind of melancholic is Marvin, the android in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series by Terry Gilliam, by Douglas Adams, I'm sorry. I absolutely love, you know, the way that that character works. He's got a personality chip so that, you know, the humans around him can feel more comfortable. But, you know, it's a little random how the personality chip works. So he's depressed all the time and nobody wants to be around him. But he's also the smartest robot on the presidential yacht. And, you know, all the doors on this yacht, by the way, sigh when you open them because it makes them feel that their whole purpose of existence is being fulfilled as soon as a person walks through them. Oh, I love my job, you know. But because of Marvin's depression It works the opposite. Nobody really wants to be around him. Such a great character. And you gotta add one of the stars. Do clowns wear gloves? So yeah, so I always love that character because there's just this, you know, Marvin, what are the chances of us getting through there? Well, I could tell you, but you won't like it. Thanks, Marvin. You know, such a great character. So I'm putting a little bit of a highlight in his hair here. Kind of looks like what's that rock? The guy from the Melvins right now. Anyways, so here's we're gonna put some of these dots in on his collar. If I can get the red to work without marring the surface. It's all very, you gotta soften it up, like I said. What difficulties? Oh, that's so hard. Why could I get the red shot? Anyways. So, I'm going to cut in a little bit with the brown, give it a little bit more shape, and then we'll of course come in with some other values and give a little more form to our clown and his costume. Got a deep blue here, that'll work for us, I think. Structured shadows, but at the same time, not too strong, not too opaque, you know. Putting those in on his elbows. Okay, so it's just about building up color, right? Paul, I once played tag with a bunch of clowns. I was always it. Oh, clowns juggle for sure. I always go back to car theme, juggle fancy car rims. There you go. Would you like the juggle, Billy? Oh. Okay, so we've got to do the hand. So I'm going to have to build the hand up like this, because if I just put it down as a solid white, you won't understand the fingers. Hopefully that comes across now. If I'm holding up his hand going whoop, like this, right? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey. So we'll give him a skirt. All the cool clowns wear skirts, man. We'll put a couple little highlights in his shoulders there. A little bit here, raised area. Some over there. It's just color application, really. And if you think about it too much, like if you overthink the application of chalk, it's going to make you second guess. But like you realize that you can go over things with the next color application, and turn things back to the way that you might have intended for them to go. So that's the nice thing about chalk, is that you can correct yourself with it. So don't be too concerned if, oh, I didn't want that there. Well, you'll fix it. Just give it a minute and go over it. Okay, so we're putting in, I should have chosen a different, something a little deeper than the pink. But I've got 12 colors to choose from, and the pink is what we have. So let's come through here and put a little piece of trim along the edge of the dress. And really push a lighter highlight in on the one spot. Right down the center there. Okay, so here's our clown. He doesn't prefer clown, he prefers a musicist. Anyways. And we'll put him on a chair. And we'll give him a little bit of a shape to the bottom of his chair. Don't have a gray, so we're going to make our own. Okay, so here's our clown, panel 2. Man, it's hard not to think of McDonald's right now. Okay, so we've got a couple of ways that we can do this. If I want to go around our clown in this setting, okay, so I'm going to put this green to differentiate our clown, but I'm leaving a tiny little space between our clown and the background value that I'm putting in. And then over top of said background value, I'm going to blend in another color so that we can have a range of value shifting behind him. A little bit of the old dark to light. There we go. Okay, so what have we got for our next panel, folks? We're almost done this guy. Has anybody got a suggestion for the next one? And if so, please put it in the chat, and I'll take a look in just a second. I'll be with you in 2 shakes of the lamb's tail. I know what you're thinking about that pun. You're thinking, you. Anyways. So here's our shift to the lighter green for the upper part. And the reason I'm doing this is to differentiate this larger image, the larger form, from the more close-up one. We're not too concerned about the more close-up one because there's so much going on here already, but we want to really push and pull what's happening in here. So that's why I'm adding these second tones into the composition. So the blue is going to push down this green over here. But we know, all the cool kids at the back of the bus, we know. They're all it's just a field of green. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We can have little bleed edges. They make it more interesting, to tell you the truth. Man, it's not hard to think of McDonald's now. Okay, I'm going to get my big goofball face out of the road. And so here we are, panel 3. Now, okay, so the page goes over another 6-8 inches, so we've got lots of room on that. Well, it goes over lots more space than that. Okay, so we've got our clown who's now telling us, you know, an extremely serious clown is, you know, our first image. But what's the worst part of playing tag? Is our clown school. Okay, clown school it is. Well, let's draw a school. So I'm just going to think of, let's go for them stereotypes. All right. So I'm going to draw a school here. And we're going to do the whole cliche campus business. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to find some shapes and start to construct our building. Does anybody know the band Zeus? I've had them stuck in my head all day. If you don't know the band Zeus, check them out. Check them out. All the kids are doing it. Yeah. Okay, so here's our driveway coming in. Now, let's do a big red nose on top of the building. Okay. And then we'll do some formal architecture, yep. Anyways. So I'm just putting in the shape for our building, and I'm figuring out where things are going to go. Yeah, clown school. So let's have in our fountain at the front, we'll have, okay, we'll use the yellow. So I'm going to put a fountain here in our foreground. We'll clean this up in a second. And we'll put a stem on that goes into the water. And then give a little bit of color to this. Beef it up a little bit there. And then we're going to come around. So this is, I'll tell you the colors that I've got here if this is of any interest to anybody. In a 12 pack that I've got, we've got, this is a ochre that I'm holding here. All right. And sorry, I'm having a tough day. So this is brown, or similar to like an umber. You've got your dark blue, your light blue. You've got your black, you've got your dark green, your light green, your yellow, your orange, your white, and your red. So that's your range of colors to utilize. It's basically just the basic colors of anything. But what it affords is the opportunity to mix these combinations together and start to define more clearly other tones, other variances. So I've got the fountain coming in now, and I'm really going to blend the fountain in, and then we'll beef up the stem of the flower statue here. And so the joke, of course, with the fountain is that it's a, smell my flower joke that's at the front of the school. And then there's the red nose on the roof. So we're just thinking about clown things as we go along. So I think I have to wash my hands again in a second, because they're pretty solidly whatever colors I've been using. So here's our fountain coming together, and we'll put a little value shift underneath there, and come in with the blue over top of the brown, which tends to work like a nice deep tonal shift, like into the darker range, but without having to just go hardcore black and everything. I think that the more that you can do things like that, the more your colors all work with one another, as opposed to just this sort of hacky approach to stuff. So here's our fountain coming in. Hopefully it looks fountainicious, fountainlistic. Okay, and so we'll put our path that goes around the fountain into play here. Bring that around. And so because we've got this black line that rims around the outside of our fountain, as I come through here with this soft application of white, the two will work together. So here's our driveway coming through into the front of the school. Okay, so now I'm going to finish the school in the background, and So we'll use a bunch of overlapping lines. One of the ways that I like to think of when I'm applying color in a project or line work in a project for a building or the like, I want to have a sense that the directional lines are moving in conjunction with one another. I'm sure everybody else has the same feeling, but and what I mean by that is that if we understand this formal structure of a building to work, horizontal and vertical axes in as the structure of how it's put together, because that's how we recognize other examples, then I want to build that up piece by piece, but make it a little more interesting than just the whole building's a flat whatever value. Because that lets us have a little bit more fun for the combinations that we use to put it together. So I'm coming through here and starting to structure in some of the window shapes. But I won't just leave these really opaque blues in place here, because that's boring. Boring. I hope that's making sense for folks. Here's a hard one, maybe. Clown with mirror showing up makeup application. Well, how's it fit? We just got to figure out how it fits into our narrative. It's all doable. We just got to figure out how it fits in. So here's our, hopefully this is starting to look more like a school building. And I think this is what generally is going to help that all out, is to start to put in little blends with this white. There we go. Corbin is snoring on the opposite side of the room right now. Thank you, Corbin. No problem, buddy. I got you. He's helpful that way. Okay, so now our school is starting to come together, and I'm going to destabilize this solid opaque value that's in the windows by putting in an off color, this other blue, in order to push the idea of reflected light, right? Glass surface. Glass surface, that'd be a great name for a band. And all we do is cover Patti Smyth songs. Okay. Fountains are lovely, says Liz. Some clowns make balloon animals. Nice. Teaching tips to fix smile. Whoa, reminds me of black right now. Here we go. The fix the smile. So we don't, I'll come in with the black and put little accents over here, right? But I've got nothing under the chin purposefully. I mean, if we're going to have anything, it would be this kind of little soft blue application to it. We don't want an overabundance of value. Like if you put a really opaque value into the mouth, then it's going to be too much draw. So you could put a light little piece of something in there. And then over here, I've got the mouth open. It's more simplified, this panel, because it's more distant, right? We're putting more of the details in here, but because we've put more of the details in this first panel, the reader should be able to assume some of the pieces, like some of the more interesting parts of how the second panel comes together. I may well take a charcoal stick, charcoal pencil, and come in and hit some blacks. Nice tight touch, little touches with a black. Let me see if I got something to show you. Oh, black pencil. See, here we go. We've got one here. Oh, I'm going to need to use use this side. Okay, so this is a Derwent this is a burnt umber pastel, chalk pastel. And so if we come in and we put our little accent points in here and add a little shape volume, and so we can do some more tight and interesting lines. I just wanted to try to keep moving and doing as much as I can, but I might as well just put in a couple things now. So this really sort of pulls tight some of our forms, right? But it's not a black, it's a burnt umber, so it's a really dark brown. Just because I find it blends better, in the sense that it doesn't overwhelm the area with a deep dark value. See how it moves in the difference of it here to the black right there beside it. So yeah, our fountain isn't centered properly. I'm so mad. Mad. So anyways, okay, so now we're going to come in with that white a little bit more, and the tricky part is finding keeping track of where the tip is on your piece of chalk. So now I'm going to come in with this darker green, and start pushing the value of the space around our fountain area. And we'll do a shift again. We're going to come in with some blue and some greens over here and try to force some perspective this way. So here's our clown school, but let's get a little bit of shape to our driveway here. And then we'll start putting in some little hash marks here to imply that that's a grass that's around there. And we'll come in with our blue a little bit. Just to push this value back here to give you the sense that it's coming around the fountain towards the school as it recedes into the background. So, sky. Before I forget, let's take, how tight is this? I want a really nice little line with this black or this white. So here's our fountain now. Hopefully that's going to make sense to people, that the flower is squirting water out. Because it's very funny. It's, okay. Dark green, we'll put some trees around the school. And I'm going to come in with a brown in a second and blend into the trees. Why brown, Chris? Boy, I'm glad you asked. Just because it's not overwhelming, but it softens the value down below. And then when I come in with some blue, why blue, Chris? Just stick with me, man. So now we get a sort of a charcoaly thing going on in there. We can come in with that umber pencil if we so wish, and tighten up some of these lines. Start to give the roof some form. Now, sky. Where are we at? 105. We're doing good, folks. You guys are doing great. Okay, so if this is our sky, I hope this is interesting to people. It's a bit of a random way to do a page today, but here we are. It's real impermanent. It's always been the challenge of chalk drawing, is the impermanence of it. You know, if you're looking for works that there's a process to have to go through in order to save pieces for longevity's purpose, for, you know, and it's an awful lot of spraying, and you know, and with the spraying you get some friscolation of the values that you put down, or little speckles in it. For those that don't know what the heck I'm talking about when I say something silly like friscolation. And so here's our sky coming in. I'll just extend that across. And the reason that I've left this little gap, why is that, Chris? Glad you asked. All right, is to put some clouds in there. Drop my, oh, I hate that so much. So much. Flames in my head. So there's our clown school. Okay.
Okay.
A balloon in the sky. It's a good idea. We got the clown nose on the rooftop. We've got the fountain over here. I miss my friend. I miss them all. Yeah, let's use this pink. And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, except for this plastic bag that was flying around the wind one day. Okay, and we'll come back in a little bit more. Give a little bit more shape to our clouds here. Okay, so here's, I almost dropped it. Nice try. All right. Balloon in the sky. Okay, here we go. There's our balloon in the sky. And I'm just going to do one more little thing. And that is add some. So I've grown my fingernails in. I've had a problem with my fingernails in the past. And so I've been really making a conscious effort to have fingernails for our youngest daughter's wedding. And but now I find that when I go to blend things and certain tricks and things that I would use before, now I've got these nails in the way. Anyways. Okay, so there's our first 3 panels. Okay. Now I have room over here for one more. So we've got, I'm going to make a note up above this. An extremely serious clown's a suggestion from Jim. What's the worst part of playing tag? And then we can do back. Clown school. So then I think that, of course, my assumption is that the next thing that would need to be drawn would be, you know, clowns chasing each other around to play tag, right? So if you've got, and I'll have to move everything over a tad just so we can get into here. So if I've got, I'm just going to do it really rudimentarily because we're getting, you know, I want to absorb everybody's whole day here. So this really gestural line work here is to intimate our clowns running around and of course we'll add much more to these to give them a little bit more structure. But we'll have different clowns in different positions, and all of them running around in the grass here in the schoolyard. So this is a fun one because it really lets you get to have a little bit of dynamism and action here. I might have just put a whole bunch of chalk on my face. So lucky. So I'm just roughing in some characters, right? And just to give a little more sense to it. And I'll put one more, let's put one more in. We'll put him, here. Can you see? Is he in frame? Yeah. So this one is running like crazy in front of this guy. So he's our guy who's it, and these are our various clowns running around and running away from it. So we're going to add all kinds of visual complexity to that. But in the interim, we just want to structure out the whole of the composition. So if we have, say, in our background here, and we can even add a clown, imply that there's a clown hiding in the tree. But if we put this tree line in here in this really simplified way right now, we're going to add more to it, more complexity to it. And in our foreground, we'll have the grass line, okay? So that all of this takes place on the lawn of the clown school, clown university. So hopefully that's, makes a little bit of sense for people. And of course there'll be various trees in the background here, and we'll add quite a bit to those. I'm just trying to get this whole thing structured together nice and quick. So as we've got the light green going through so we're going to do this. We're going to switch it up in this way. I'm using the light green as a base, and as I'm coming forward, of course, we'll have more opaque light green, and as we're going farther back, there'll be embedded darker values, like a darker green into some blue like we did over in here, right? And some brown. So here's our clowns running. And we'll put in some more detail with these guys. We're just getting the structure of the whole thing in place. I'm probably off camera right now. That's okay. I'll be adding another 2 inches to this composition, but I'll come back to it. All right, so if that's our tree line, we'll imply this in the skyline at the top. But that's where, so this is the structure of this panel, okay? And it's the clowns playing tag. So we've sort of continued the narrative elements that we've introduced of our serious, very serious clown. What's the worst part of playing tag? So we can ask this question that's in the notes above in this space here. What's the worst part of playing tag? Clown school. Every year, the clown university I went to, one of the things you needed to do to graduate was to play tag in a backfield and catch one of the teachers. Whatever. The narrative sort of builds itself over time and lets you sort of take some license with this story development, right? So does anybody have a suggestion? Anybody, maybe if you haven't said anything yet and you feel like speaking up now, please feel free to do so. But does anybody have a suggestion for one more? So if we know the teachers, you have to chase the teachers around and catch one of them in order to graduate. Does anybody have where this could go next? A suggestion. And if you haven't made one yet, please feel free to do so. I encourage it. I challenge you. Challenge. Don't make me put some sand on the floor and give you a proper challenge. So now we're starting to put in some of these different hits of value. And the reason that I haven't overly defined the clowns that are running in the foreground is that, if I'm blending out value behind them and I want them to stand out on top of it, why put all those details in case I have to put them all in again? Oh, come on, Chris. Mr. Christopher, just do it one time. Anyways. Oh, no. So we're getting in some of the background now. Now, the face on this clown is still the original color of the paper. The colors, the basic colors of their outfits is just really primary, but that's good. That's completely fine for us. We're going to add a little more secret sauce to that. So, okay, so now I'm going to come in with some white and some yellow, and we're going to put in some nice little reflections from the sun over here in the grass. Blend those across. The white and the yellow working together like that allows you to put in some of those, on top of the green that is, allows you to put in some of those highlighted areas and blend them together. We're flying by the seat of our pants here, folks. My reference stuff turned off a while ago. So we're just making it up as we go along here, Clowns, I get it, yeah. Big noses, right? The guys with big noses. Oh, they prefer to be called prominent proboscideans. So now I'm putting in a deeper shadow underneath the trees, and we're going to put some detention. Oh my goodness, it's great. Linda says, thanks everyone for giving a thumbs up. Thank you, Linda. Detention is great. So I'm going to make a note of detention. First is our catch teachers note. And then I'm going to put a note over here that the next thing we're putting in is detention. And what can the detention be for people at a clown school? It's they have to sit in class and try to keep a smile on their face while they watch horrible things happening in video. Who knows? Detention's great. Thank you, Paul. That's in there. So, all right. So we've got Liz is putting some suggestions in. Paul is. Yeah, I got a balloon. Okay, balloon animals. Oh, perfect. Linda, perfect. Detention is balloon animal practice, which no one really wants to do. So balloon animal practice. You have to do 100 dogs. Thank you, everybody, for taking part today. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. So, yeah, okay, so we got some really cool bits of business to put in to our final images here about the detention. So what I'll end up doing, I think, is drawing detention in a hallway on a door, you know, the detention room. And we'll put a little note on it that says no laughing matter. Right? I gotta make a note of that, I'll forget it. And then detention is no laughing matter. There we go. So, and then they're going to be in that room doing balloon animal practice where you're not off detention until you've made 100 perfect, you know, and whatever the subject is today, sword hats or balloon hats or balloon swords or balloon dogs or whatever it is, and you have to do 100 before you can leave detention. And if there's any imperfections in those, you start over again. So, yeah. All right, so we've got a good structure. No, this is it. That's as big as it gets, folks. All right, so I've got, let's see what we've got. We've got our fourth panel of the clowns playing tag. And again, like I said, there's another 1.5 inches out of there, but I ran out of space. And then we've got, well, let me get the useless resource thing that's not even working. Look at that. Oh, I'm a filthy man. Oh, Lord. Look at the filthiness. So, and I've got all our notes down here and all of our notes up there, and I wrote everybody's name down. It's been suggesting stuff as we go. So there's our first 4 panels. Here, our very serious clown. What's the worst part of playing tag? Back at school, you know. And then so we can refer back to the balloon making is very serious business. They have to make the animals without popping the balloon. You pop, you start over. There you go. Nicely done. Thank you, Linda. Okay, so there's our structure for today's page. It's thank you very much for taking part along the way. And please, people are always welcome to do that during streams. Don't ever feel like you can't speak up during a stream or input a suggestion. You're not going to, I know that some creators are like, hey, I got it. Thanks, pal. I've got no problem whatsoever with you throwing in more notions and stuff. It's more fun. It's more fun. And you're going to challenge me in ways that I may not have been challenged if it was just me tapping into my own upstairs, So just putting the bottom part of his hair in here. And so this is what I'll do next, is that I'm going to go through this whole top line and tighten up some details and add in little bits of extra business so that it gives just a little bit more shape, a little more form. And I hope that it turns out as a fun thing for the whole family. You're telling me it's fun. Anyways. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody that's taking part today. I really appreciate that. This has been a lot of fun for me and a lot of messy fun. And if you've got a one-story suggestion, an idea that you want to throw at me, well, don't throw at me. I'm sensitive. But please feel free to do so. I love it. I'm always open-minded to it. And it forces me to grow creatively because I might be asked to do things that are outside, the normal approaches I'll take to things or my comfortable space or whatever. I don't draw chickens, whatever that might be. So, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you've had fun too. I will be back on Monday at 2 p.m. EST, and I hope you can make it out. I may switch to a different time during the day if it helps more people for their timetable. So if people want to start suggesting what ideal times work for them, you can feel free to send me a message of that, and we'll start making them calculations. All right. There we go. Look at that. Huh? My hand is a battlefield. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I hope to see you Monday. In the meantime, have fun. Go out and make something. Bye for now, everyone.